Welcome back to the shop. Today we have a pipe wrench. It's a Worth brand. Got to be a zillion years old. Don't really know. Don't know where this came from. Pile of tools, some lot or whatever. I don't know how long I've had it for, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sandblast it, wire wheel it, give it some paste wax, and it's standard issue video. This tool, I was debating on whether to clean it up or not because it has a big chunk out of the bottom jaw. But you know, it only takes just such a, I mean, it's only missing a little tiny bit of the actual gripping area. So I think that there might be some utility left in this wrench. And you know, I think it was Scout Crafter that pointed out that these pipe wrenches, typically one side of the jaw is messed up and the other one's in good shape. Well, you know, there's always an exception to the rule. So, you know, this got a pretty big chunk out of it, but nevertheless, I think it's going to be worth restoring, and that's going to be today's content. I've got some bad news for my sandblaster people that like to see things. I was welding and I left the camera sit down by it, and I got a bunch of weld. You can see I screwed that up pretty good. This might actually be a repair video. Maybe I can salvage this. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But today I'm just going to use it like normal and see how bad the video really is. And I do have more of these cameras, but anyway, we'll see what happens. So that's a little bit of bad news on that front. The channel's been doing really well. I think I've got 80 additional subscribers in the last month. I think I'm up to about 160, which is, I'm really excited about it. I think it's great. And I'm getting great content, great comments, by and large, from people. And I think I mentioned in an earlier video, if you guys have something that you're particularly interested in, or some restoration project that you're going to get into, I think that YouTube would provide an interesting format for us to discuss these things. And I was talking to a viewer today, back and forth on YouTube, and he had a Maddox that was similar to mine. So if you've seen that video, I had sort of reached out and said, well, what kind of handle? Well, that didn't go as planned. My battery died in the camcorder, so to pick up where I left off, one of the other viewers had chimed in and was nice enough to take some pictures of his Maddox and the handle that he's got for his, and it's a tremendous help for me. I think that YouTube is really neat because it can sort of provide an atmosphere for us to have these dialogues and share information and learn from one another and whatnot. And I'd go ahead and like to thank the guy for sending this to me. It's a great help. And to that end, I mean, ultimately my idea is to have this channel sort of facilitate any sort of learning and, I don't know, the sort of community approach to solving problems and whatnot. So anyway, with that being said, we'll sort of move along here to the actual content of the video. But again, thanks a lot. I'm real happy with the channel's doing, and get to work. I think it's really cool that people contact me and talk about the tools that they're restoring, and I think I'm going to put some pictures in here of his project. And you know, I'd like to maybe develop my thoughts a little bit further and figure out a good workable format where we can talk about these tools and restoration projects, and when to use certain types of finishes and paints and shellacs and waxes and bluing it maybe. Anyway, there's just so many interesting things that we have to talk about that I think it could make a pretty decent channel out of it. But I think it's going to take a lot of effort on my part learning some of the best practices, because I don't want to necessarily get out here and espouse something that I think is the best way and then not be at least better informed as to what my options are. So anyway, I think that this YouTube as a format offers a lot of opportunity towards learning about these projects and doing more. And you know, I think it's going to be, it might narrow the viewership down a little bit. I'm not worried about getting the most viewers or the most subscribers or any of that bullshit. I will never monetize the channel. I won't do commercials. None of that stuff. It's just not how I'd want to do this. It's not what it's about. So anyway, I think I'm going to go for a certain type of viewer. I've got quite a few comments. People don't like the commentary, don't like the narrative section. That's fine. I get it. It's not my channel though. I like Keith Fenner, Keith Rucker, A-Bomb, AVE, Practical Engineering, Cody's Lab, all these different places, all these different channels, and they all talk about the trials and tribulations. Go watch This Old Tony. It's fabulous content. Just great stuff. Scoutcrafter, you know, I learn a lot from these different channels. So if you don't like the narrative section, it's fine. Great. Go watch any other viewers. There's a lot of good content out there that's silent, and some of mine will be silent if I don't have anything substantive to add to it. So anyway, with that being said, let me get off my soapbox here and get to work on today's project, which is a Worth pipe wrench. So this isn't typical of what I do with the tools, but because this has so many years of pitting and whatnot on the top, I'm gonna make an effort to go ahead and hit it with the sander and see if I can't clean it up a little bit. See how that goes. Alright, so there we are with turns out to be a 10-inch Worth wrench. Gonna add it to the pile. Got lots and lots of pipe wrenches. I don't do a lot of plumbing, thank God. But anyway, cool tool. I think it's still got a little bit of life left in her, especially for as much plumbing as I do. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and girls, for watching the channel. Make comments, subscribe if you're not already. I'm going to work on my thoughts and try to develop a more coherent scheme for talking about some of the projects that you're working on. I develop that a little further and then maybe incorporate it into the channel. But for now, I'm just going to keep plugging away as time permits with these old tools. I've got quite a few on the upcoming list. I'm not sure what I want to do next. I've got some old hammers that are in need of better handles and general cleanup and whatnot, so might be some maintenance stuff more than restoration, but anyway, I'd like to thank you again for watching, subscribing, commenting. Have a good one.